to the cloud. All right, so now we're recording. Hi, you guys. All right, so I'm going to ask everybody to mute just to stabilize the situation. Kaylee, it's so nice to see you. It's so nice to see everybody's beautiful faces. All right, so hi, Nancy. All right. Good. I think we're back in action. Hi, everybody. We're going to give everybody a few more minutes, and then we're just going to get this party started. How is everybody doing, by the way? While we're waiting, does anybody want to, that was really cute, Nancy. Does anybody want to talk or speak to how it's going in the studio? Do you have any questions, or do you want to have any announcements, promotions, some fun things going on in your lives? I know it's Super Bowl Sunday. Thank you for joining us, for those of you who are football fans during Super Bowl Sunday.
And Amanda Gorman just read her poem, but it'll be posted a million places.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't realize she was reading a poem for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, she just did a new one, but it'll be up at other places.
Cool. All right. It's 6:35. I think we should jump in because we have Sherelle joining us in about 10 minutes. So I just wanted to say thank you for those of you who read the member newsletter. Is everybody getting the member newsletter, by the way? And cleaned off any of the shelving that they were using. We have 3 people who want to come into membership. There's a couple of people who are leaving. So I want to make sure that that everybody has enough shelf space to choose from. So and it's just not fair if you're using an extra shelf and somebody else doesn't have an extra shelf, and it just felt more fair. So thank you for those of you who did a good job of cleaning that out. I think there's still a few shelves that have to be dealt with, and what I'm going to say to that is we kind of did this this kind of gentle approach. I'm going to try to see whose stuff it is, and then like in a couple months, if I can't figure it out, we might have to toss, because it's just the way it is. But what else did I want to talk to? I wanted to announce that Kayla is our new studio manager, and I'm really happy to announce that Kayla is going to be overseeing all the processes of the studio, from glaze mixing to she's not going to be doing everything. She's going to be managing the studio. So in addition to loading shelves, we're still trying to figure out her exact role. But for the most part, a lot of people will be, I know, right? Congratulations, Kayla. Will be reporting to Kayla as far as studio operations goes. So if anybody has any questions about that, feel free to ask us. We're still trying to figure out who fields what question, but I think over the next few months, I think it'll get clearer and clearer. The other thing I wanted to announce with that, we got another kiln, and I'm excited about it. It's always a fight. So I'm in the process of negotiating with the building, is getting that set up. The reason why it isn't set up, well, the reason why we have a kiln is because they told me at the very beginning we can have up to 3 kilns in that space. And now they're saying that we can't. So it may be a matter of just adding an extra plug. Well, one is firing, one is cooling, that kind of thing. Either way, we're going to figure it out. But we have a shiny brand new kiln, and I'm excited about that. And please don't hesitate to stop me as I'm kind of trucking along this list. The door code was changed on the 2nd of February. I'm going to try to change it every month because it feels like there are people kind of rolling in and out of the studio just about every month, although we've been stable for the last couple of months. It's just a good idea for security purposes to just continuously change it. We don't want anything to happen to our equipment, our beloved studio. And then, what else? We initiated 2 subcommittees. I think you've seen that in our general postings, but one is on sales. Every year we've had, or the first year that we were there, we've had a member sales, entire member sales for May and for December, and they've been quite successful. I mean, they were really ramping up. Just for that first year, I thought we did pretty good, right, Kayla? We did really good on it was pretty good income. There was some people that made over $1,000 in the course of a weekend. So
yeah, it's mostly people are more interested in the seconds.
Oh,
Yeah.
Speaking of, I was approached by Loot. Do you guys know Loot in Turner's Falls? It's this kind of refurbished. They want to do a second sale with East Hampton Clay. And they're a brick and mortar store, and a lot of people come to their store, and they're a sweet little store in Turner's Falls. I just forgot about it, and I'll have a better organized way of kind of, isn't that a cool store? Like, way of organizing that, maybe with somebody else's help, because that is not my strength. Maybe Becca can help me figure out how to sign people up for something like that. And I'm working with the owner of Loot to figure out a date that works for everybody. But if you're, I'm not going to say that. I'm going to have like an official, thank you, Alexa. And if you want to be part of our sales committee, by the way, I'm opening up the subcommittees to the membership. So that's one of the subcommittees is sales, like venues for sales. We're thinking about tacking onto the farmers market on a weekend in May, and or tacking on to that idea or their license or something. The sales committee has yet to meet. We have to come up with a meeting date and talk about that, because last year it was unexpected. COVID landed in March, but this year I think we could be a little more proactive, and I think it would be really nice to get something together. Does anybody with that? Does anybody know the owners of Local Gallery across the street? I don't know them personally, but if you have a relationship with them, if you can DM me, and I'm looking to see if we can actually have an end of year, like beautiful, like if COVID is still affecting us at the end of the year, maybe do 2. They are. I didn't realize that. I didn't realize they were closed. All right. Well, never mind. We'll figure out something for the holiday sale. I thought it would be a nice venue for the holiday sale. If something similar opens up, we'll do that. So that's one subcommittee. The other subcommittee, we just met for the first time this Tuesday. Yeah, cool, Rachel. Let's talk on the side about that. I think it would be really great. My goal, my like dream is to have a studio where we actually have a gallery too. And with these I'm just trying to figure that out. So, all right. So the other subcommittee that we have is this, it's called, it's called the diversity subcommittee, but it's called an inclusion, equity, and diversity subcommittee. And we've identified some real ways to bring in more BIPOC people into the studio. We're going to start really slowly, and then we're going to ramp up. And I've been exploring some avenues for a 501c3 arm of the business. And if anybody wants to help with that in any way, I think Ashley and a few other people have identified some really neat fundraising ideas. So that's really fun. And we're still in the process of developing our mission. And even if you don't want to be a part of an ongoing committee, if you have any ideas and you want to, this is our community. So if you have any ideas and you just want to offer a suggestion, don't hesitate to DM me. I'm always open to suggestions, even if you don't have time to participate in a monthly committee. Okay. Anybody have any questions about that? All right. So,
Hey, Liz,
yes,
this is Ingrid. I have a question. I had volunteered to be on the sales committee, and
yes,
I'm wondering when would be a good time to pull that first meeting together? Is it good to start talking now?
yes. Let's put
Or
it in the. Let's
okay,
put it. So there's a Slack channel for the subcommittee. I would love it. Yeah, if you want to. Now is not a good time because we're running up against the clock. But
Yep.
if you want to pop it either in general or in the Slack channel that actually is the sales subcommittee channel to propose a few times, that would be awesome. So the
Okay.
subcommittee for the diversity subcommittee has been meeting on Tuesday at 5:45, just so Becca could come home. So maybe like a 6 p.m. meeting on a Thursday would be good, or well, not Thursday because I teach till 5:30, but maybe like 6:30 on a Thursday, or something like that.
Okay.
Would be good.
I'll message you and I can take the lead in getting that started.
All right, that sounds good. Thank you, Ingrid.
Right.
I appreciate that. All right. So I think that's it. I don't see, I think Sherelle is going to pop on in about a minute. She's very prompt. I'm really excited about having her come on board. I'm going to do an intro without her here. So she, yeah.
Did you talk about classes?
Oh gosh, we opened up classes to the public today. Oh, I know what I wanted. We opened up, well, let me just tell you that. So we opened up classes to the public today, and the registration has been sluggish, more sluggish than usual. And I think I don't know what it is, but I suspect it's because we are in a dark winter and people are a little bit afraid. I have a friend of mine and I are working on a little bit more kind of announcement of all the things that we're doing to keep people safe, kind of thing. Just like we have it on our on our front page, I think, or somewhere on our front page, what we're doing to keep people safe. But I don't know if it's a matter of that, or if you have any feedback again, like why this particular term is sluggish than in the past. We had a few signups today, but usually we're loaded within the first few weeks. So we've been open right now for a week in registration. So, and again, we have a policy that if you either bring on a member, and Hadley, I'm talking to your person, or if you bring on a student, you get a free bag of clay, kind of thing, just a little incentivized program for that. And I think Erica or Tibbs, I owe you like 100 bags of clay at this point. And if I owe you a bag of clay, please DM me. And with that, I wanted to see, we had a discussion in our advisory board today about trying to figure out how to unify everybody in the cleaning process. We put up some signs. We are gonna maybe, Kayla and I are maybe gonna do a cute little video. Everybody has their own way of cleaning up, but I think that if we standardize the way of cleaning up, there's a lot of people rolling through there 4 at a time. I think it would just make it a friendlier, happier place. And I'm just laughing because Alexa said, Suzanne, your cat is beautiful. So it is beautiful, by the way, Suzanne. So, but does anybody have any questions about the studio, about the space, or how is it going with the home people? Is there any issues getting clay? How are you guys doing? Is everybody okay? All right. All right, cool. All right. So I'm going to jump back to Sherelle, who's not here yet. Let me see if she's struggling getting on. So Sherelle started as my student at Mudflat, and I can't remember, I started full-time, not full-time, but really fully. I quit my corporate position in 2010. I did shows for a couple of years, and then in 2012, think this is her. No, that's not her. So she's kind of like she was a beginning student, just like everybody else, but really, really great with an early adopter of technology. And so she was on Instagram right at the beginning. And I remember her saying to me, I don't need a website. I'm just going to sell my work on Instagram. And I remember thinking, what? What does that even mean? So she here she is. Sherelle, Sherelle, can you hear me? I was just talking about you. So we were talking about how you were an early adopter of Instagram, and I was just relaying that funny story when you told me, or I don't remember who it was in our class, that you were going to sell your work on Instagram, and we were all like, "What do you mean? What does that even mean?" So and now here we are, fast forward not that many years later, and Sherelle is a co-owner of Andom Art Studios in Brookline, which is kind of a big deal studio. And I'll let you speak more intelligently to that. And has well over 53,000 followers, is that right, on Instagram? So welcome, Sherelle.
Hi. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So I kind of came into that, Liz, sorry, like I was trying to set up my microphone and I didn't hear the whole thing, but I just want to say hi and thanks for having me. And I do remember that class with you, and I don't really understand why I had such a desire to do that, but I think it was me going through treatment and just trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life at that point.
That's right. That's right. I did not talk about that. Do you want to just give them your history, how it all kind of came to be?
Sure.
So yeah, because I think it's important too.
Okay. So I was born and raised here, but then I moved to California for a little while, like a good 7 years. And when I moved home, it was because I was diagnosed with metastatic melanoma. And so I had to go through treatment at Beth Israel and all kinds of surgeries and a clinical trial. And so when I was doing this, I wasn't working and I needed something to kind of just help me get through the idle time. And so that's when I signed up at Mudflat and met Liz, because she was my teacher. And it took me a little bit, obviously, to get the hang of it. We all know ceramics is not easy. But I just loved it so much that I just wanted to see if I could make it into something that would actually supplement, some income for me, which was really fun.
Oh, can I inject something that speaks to my my diversity committee? Sherelle was a recipient of one of Mudflat's grants, right?
Yes, I was.
Yes, maybe like 2 terms.
Just one, I think. I tried again for a second term, and they don't offer it always for everybody, and I understood that. But the first one, I think 100% helped me go, because I just didn't have really anything to speak of as far as money. So it was really helpful to have that help from them.
Yeah, we're thinking about setting up something similar.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, I saw people that I followed on social media that were selling whatever it was they were making, whether it was pottery or knit and crocheted stuff or whatever. So I just kind of took that as inspiration and said, well, if they can do it, then I can do it. It's all just marketing, right? It's like, you just have to market yourself the right way and work Instagram to its fullest potential, and then it could happen. And so I kind of just put that goal out there, and it helped distract me from everything that was kind of going on with treatments and stuff like that. And I love taking pretty photos. So that's kind of the big thing with Instagram. It's all about the photos. And now it's turning into like videos and all that stuff too. So yeah, I just kind of rolled with it. Not really sure where you want me to like kind of begin talking with everybody about stuff, but give me some direction.
Yeah. So the idea was, I know that you started at the beginning of Instagram amassing your following.
Mhm.
What were key factors for amassing such a following? And again, I know that the algorithms were a little bit different, but you're still holding your audience, and you're still, I mean, I know it's not the growth rate that it was at the beginning, but you're still growing. Um, and um, and what are some of the key factors that have gotten you there?
I think early on it was um, being active on there. So posting as often as you can. It was really kind of just like once a day, every day, just going on and either doing a post. Now it's involving stories too. So that's kind of, there's all kinds of new aspects of Instagram that they want you to use as many as you can. And the more that you use, the more you're going to be seen by an audience. Back then it was just doing a post, using all the right hashtags, which is still really relevant, weirdly enough. And really just kind of engaging with the audience that you do have. So if people comment on your photos, commenting back is helpful, but also going and commenting and following and liking other people's posts. I mean, it's called social media for a reason. I mean, they want you to be social. They want you to engage with everybody else. So it is its own job for sure. It's not something that's easy. I mean, it is when you've been doing it for a while. It's kind of like second nature, but to be on it and to be doing that every day can be tiresome for people. So I totally understand that, because I mean, I don't even follow all my own rules all the time anymore.
Yeah.
But the other big thing that was big back then was doing giveaways with other accounts. So back then it was like, if someone that I knew had more followers than me and they were willing to do a giveaway with me, then it got me all of, the followers from them, as well as blasted it out to all these new people when they tag their friends. It's a little different now with giveaways. It seems like Instagram's kind of caught on and they're really trying to, like, I don't know, just not let them be seen, or there's spammy accounts that are kind of coming in and trying to get people's credit card information. And, it's always going to be spam, which is really annoying. But they're not gaining as much traffic as they used to, which is a big bummer for people like us that are just trying to gain another bigger audience to be able to sell our stuff. So we're going to figure it out, but we'll figure out new ways to work around things and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I want to circle back to what you had mentioned about hashtags. What are some hashtags that have been successful for you?
Some of the good ones for pottery. I was gonna say,
I know you have a list of like 26 hashtags. Do you?
I used to, yeah. I used to just I used to make a note in my phone in my notepad, and I literally would just copy paste all these hashtags, which I think is still really good to do. Mine, I try to change up a lot, because using the same ones over and over again, you're kind of get lost in all that shuffle. So like there's big pottery ones, like obviously like I tag like Amico, like whatever glazes I'm using, like if it's a Laguna clay, if it's Sheffield clay, stuff like that. Like, but you're mostly going to be seen by most of just the potter, like just us, like, which is good, but also you want like a different audience. You want people that are going to purchase your stuff, which obviously we love to support each other, but you're not always going to find a big audience that way. So for me, it was not only just using the hashtags, but I also have like the knitting and crochet part of my business. And so that's a whole other audience that I just happened to kind of integrate into that, which was convenient, because like they all want mugs, they all want all that cozy stuff, knitting, like yarn bowls and all that. So I think doing hashtags, like if you say you had a picture of a mug and you were hashtagging Potters of Instagram, or like a big one that's kind of a newer one that I found was women makers. So like if there are women that are doing this, that's a big one. Like just like mugs, mug love, mugs of Instagram. There's always like something of Instagram. There's always that hashtag, which is really
I want to just speak to that like different audience. You know how you do that yarn, and then I bet you have people who are really interested in yarn buying your pottery as well. When I was on Instagram, I'm not very often on my personal page anymore. I'm actually hardly ever, but I used to post pictures of Nacho, my old dog. Remember?
Yeah.
And I got all these dog people who were buying my pottery,
Yep.
which was because I used to hashtag pit bulls of Instagram and all of that.
Yeah,
So
because when
really
you're
nice.
hashtagging different things, like whatever else is in the photo. So like there's sometimes like I have a ton of plants in my studio and at home. And if they happen to be in the background, or if I made a planter, I'll hashtag plant lover,
Mhm.
plant lovers of Instagram, like again, all that stuff. And it brings in a whole other audience, like out of left field, that might never see your stuff because they're not looking for pottery hashtags, they're looking for plant hashtags. So like
Exactly.
throwing a pet in there and doing like your studio made, like your, you know, or a cute photo with your dog or your cat or whatever animal you have, I think it definitely helps bring in some new eyes to your feed.
Mhm. So any other ways that you're building your audience now in the well, not only in the pandemic, I always say in the pandemic, but like now that Instagram has, or now that Facebook has taken over Instagram and has completely shuffled everything around, are there new and different ways? Are you utilizing like reels and videos, and like what are you utilizing? Are you utilizing everything? Are you just trying everything and seeing what
I
works?
think what most people do and recommend is that if Instagram comes out with something new, make sure you're doing it. So if you need to be doing videos, because they're doing a lot more of that to kind of compete with TikTok, which is just all kind of video stuff. Definitely do the videos when you can, do reels, do stories. The Instagram TV was a new one that came out. So that one's like you can do longer videos. So you can really do videos for, I don't know what the actual limit is, but I know it's very long. So you could do like, I don't know, maybe half an hour, an hour's worth of video if you wanted to. So I have a really good friend who's actually a woodworker, and he kind of took note from Florian Gatsby. I don't know if you guys follow him, who's the potter that's like huge in the UK. His
Wow.
feed is like meticulously perfect. And I don't know how he works in a studio that clean, but like he does it, and he does these great photos, but he also does like really long wordy captions. So my friend Paul took a note from him and just kind of was like, I'm going to do what he's doing because he's clearly doing something right if he's gaining all these followers. So Paul did that. He posted every day. He was very like religious about it. Posted a really long caption describing what he was doing, lots of videos, and like Paul just like skyrocketed past me in followers. And I think it's really just like engaging the different aspects of Instagram when they have it. So like I do some videos, but I'm definitely not good about doing as many as I should, and more process videos. But when I do a process video, it's kind of fun how much feedback I get from that. People are like, oh, I never knew all the steps that were involved in that. It's really cool to see. And they're sharing it with their friends and stuff like that. So I think utilizing all those things is really effective.
So Sherelle, we just got a question that said, what's your Instagram handle? And I forgot to mention that. How could I forget to mention that? Sherelle.
That's okay. I just typed it in. So
Mud and Yarn. So cool. And I does anybody have any questions about Instagram before I ask the next question? I'm going to shift a little bit. Okay. So we have gotten a lot of people who asked us to record. We are now recording our member meetings. For those who are celebrating the Super Bowl. You opened up, you started with Feet of Clay. Remember I was like, you should go to Feet of Clay.
I know. I was like, thank you. It's so affordable. And they people
Feet
there
of
were
Clay.
great. So
Yeah, I taught at Feet of Clay as well. It's a sweet little studio in Brooklyn. And actually a lot of our glaze recipes, actually 90% of our glaze recipes comes from Feet of Clay. Opened the studio, I went in and I was like, I'm sorry, you guys, I need all these recipes. so that's why
well, the nice thing is that Jen is so like willing to share. Like I have the whole book of those too.
Yeah. So I just went and photographed all of her textiles and recipes, and Kayla and I actually kind of picked out by the way, if you don't follow Sherelle on Instagram, definitely follow Sherelle. I mean, she's following a lot of you guys. I just found out. So, which is so sweet and thrilling for all
I
of
know.
us.
I think me and Kayla were gonna do like a mug trade at some point, so we have to work on that.
That's
Yeah,
pretty-
I was gonna message you about that.
Yeah, I know. I was like, oh shoot, I forgot about that.
But from there, Sherelle, do you want to talk about your trajectory of how you went from Feet of Clay to your own studio and then another space,
Yeah.
and like and fundraising and like the amazing things that you did to be where you are today?
Yeah. So I was at Feet of Clay, like Liz said, and then me and like a group of other people were making too much, basically. We started, because I was already starting to sell at that point. And just like any other, I don't know what your limits are at your studio, Liz, but like most community studios that have a lot of people, there's only so much you can fire because like you have to be fair for everybody. And so when we were making so much, they kind of had like a meeting and we're like, we're going to have to limit you guys. We're going to have to pull it back in. And I was like, oh shoot, because like this is what I'm doing to make money. So I explored other options as far as like where I could start have my own studio set up somewhere. Like I can't do it at home. I'm in an apartment. This isn't going to work. And I ended up hooking up with 5 other ladies and we started Village Clay, which was literally in the same building as Feet of Clay, just like up above Feet of Clay, because America's Test Kitchen was in that building and they left. So they left the whole building practically vacant. So we got to take a portion of that and start a studio called Village Clay. And there was great positives with that. Also some not so positive things. But then realized that I worked really, really well with one of the other women, Karen, who's on Instagram. She's Pondside Pottery. And so her and I really just decided to kind of branch off and do our own thing a little differently, because Village Clay was set up like a community studio, just like any other kind of space where you come in, you pay for like a shelving unit, you fire so much per month, and then, you're kind of just an in and out member. But me and Karen really wanted to create somewhere where it was like, we heard this need for private space. Like everyone has like a shelf on a studio, but we're like, well, we want to give people more space to spread out and to have their own little cube where no one disturbs their work. And it's like, that's your little cube. So it was the actual kitchen that was America's Test Kitchen, like where they did all the recording. And we checked it out and we ended up leaving Village Clay and starting Andom Art Studios, which is just private space rentals. So it's completely different than Village Clay as far as like operations go. And so it's just me and Karen that are owners over there now. And it's a lot more simple for us, just having just her and I, we get along really well. And so her and I put forth the money for that, and we'll work on getting paid back someday. But until then, we have people basically sublet spaces in the studio and it helps pay our rent. So it's not like a massive money maker, but it's paying our rent and they're happy. And we actually filled every spot since we opened. We opened last March and we had to close for obviously the month of April or May. I forget what month it was. But after that, it was like by the summertime, we were full. Every space was rented and it's safe enough that we're at more than 6 feet apart. And not everybody's in at the same time. Like obviously people have different schedules, just like at a community studio. So there are some people that are daytimers and sometimes that they come later at night, and it's just really perfectly safe, which is great. So yeah, it's worked out really well.
How does it feel to balance being a maker and managing a studio?
Doable. I think because the way we're set up, like we have some communal glazes, but we only have, I think 7 or 8, and they're commercial glazes. Like we're not making formulas and mixing everything. So it's much easier for us to just add water to a glaze and keep it in a bucket. But other than that, like me and Karen, we divvy up chores with everybody in the studio, all the clay, all those ceramics people, because the people that are in there that are just like painting or doing fiber arts, they're not making a mess like we are. So, so the ceramic members will do chores, and we find that it's really easy to kind of maintain everything. Me and Karen will do the books ourselves and just make sure everybody's happy and the rent's coming in. But once you get it kind of set up, it seems to really run itself, which is really nice. It's not a very complicated thing to do. Everyone just, as long as they're paying their rent and they're happy, we're happy.
Yeah, yeah. I have to speak to that. The member side seems to be kind of smoothish, right? Like just a few questions here and there, but for the most part, everybody's doing their thing.
Yeah.
The student side is good. But Anne can probably speak to that more than I can. But it's good to see you. Does anybody have any questions before we head out?
I'm always good too. Like if you think of something later, you guys can message me on Instagram and ask away. I'm
I
totally
know
fine.
you're really good you're so fast. Go ahead, Tibbs. Tibbs has a question. I can't. Go ahead.
Sure. Can you speak to like sort of the transition from being an amateur in someone else's studio to like selling your stuff on Instagram? Like, did you have a quota for how much you wanted to make? Did you have were you working somewhere else when you did that? I think there's lots of folks, or like maybe I'm a folk who was thinking about like at what point is it worth it to stop giving things to my friends and start charging money for them? You know, like that sort of like, now I make things for sale. I don't know if your experience might have been quite different than that, but like sort of the like step into.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think when I started selling things originally, it was my crocheted stuff. So like I would make scarves for family and friends, and then they would be like, but I want one for my other friend. I will pay you for it. And I'm like, really? You want to pay me for that? Like, okay. And so I started like, kind of doing stuff for pretty cheap. It wasn't like I was making a lot of money on them. And to be honest, I look back and I think I started selling my pottery, in my opinion, a little too early. Like my stuff wasn't good, but it was cheap and family and friends wanted to pay me for it. So I kind of felt like, okay, well, if they're wanting to, like, I'm not going to say no, but I'm also not going to charge like $1 bazillion for anything like that. Like my skill level was so sad that it was like, I needed some time to get to a better place. I want to say it took maybe so I don't know if you guys have done it before, but Feet of Clay would do like twice a year, they would do annual shows, like open studio shows. So that was kind of my first instance to selling my work. And I think I had started to gain the Instagram presence at that point. So then I started deciding like, okay, well, I'm going to have to, give myself somewhere like a platform online to sell my stuff. So I just went on to Etsy and made like a page there and did it via Etsy first, as well as taking some orders directly through Instagram and just doing like PayPal transactions and stuff like that. But yeah, I think you just have to make that decision. You just have to go, okay, I want to sell my stuff and this is my price and like make a list for yourself of like your pricing. I think that was really handy for me because I'd forget what I charged people because I wouldn't have a set cost. I was just kind of like, I don't know, whatever. Just do it. Like, I mean, if you feel like your skill is worthy of being paid, which it probably is, then you should just do it. People will gladly pay it. I still have family and friends that will be like, oh, how much is one of these mugs? And like my prices have increased because my skills have increased. And because this is my primary source of income, to answer your other question, I wasn't actually working anywhere else when I started doing this. So it kind of helped me make that decision. Like I was lucky enough that I had some family supporting me while I was going through treatment. And so I didn't have to really worry so much, but I also didn't want to just be getting help from family and friends the rest of my life. Like that's not what a 30-year-old wants to do. And so I just kind of made that leap and joined Etsy and started doing that. I still have family and friends that will ask me for a mug and then kind of be like, okay, I'll get back to you. And like crickets, they never let me know they want it. And I'm like, that's okay. Not everybody wants to pay for that. And that's fine. Like, I'm not going to be offended by it. But I also have to really realize my boundaries and actually charge people what it's worth, because I started also like doing things for family and friends and then they wouldn't come through with payment. And I was like, oh, I should have got payment up front. Like, what was I doing? So like, you'll just kind of learn, various things like that as you start to sell.
Cheryl, do you ever offer your family and friends a discount? Sometimes I did that in my own work. I had like a little 15% off family and friends discount.
Oh yeah, totally. I'll if like who was it? My dad ordered, I think it was like 8 custom mugs for friends that he knew on Christmas. And I was like, all right, well, I normally charge this, but or I wouldn't even say I normally charge this. I would just do this. And he sent me, that's my dad. Like he sent me more money than I needed. But I think people are, even when you offer a discount, people are more than willing to just pay you the full price. And I think that's really great when that happens. It feels good. It feels really validated. But then also, if you give a discount and they're okay with that, then they come back for more stuff. So people are awesome and really willing to support makers more than they ever have been, I think.
Yeah, and I also, when I started out, I was really sheepish about charging my family. I mean, if you go to my sister's house, it's the Liz Rodriguez timeline of pottery, from the like very heavy pots to the very thin pots. And I just remember them saying, okay, at some point you have to stop giving us this work, and we're gonna pay you, which is very sweet, and also they're paying for your clay. And right, you're renting a studio for your
Yep.
time, that studio space that you're renting and all of that. So I usually just kind of say that too, like I have some overhead expenses if you're willing to help me cover that.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think people are smart enough to know that like whether you're creating any art, there's overhead for anything. But I think for ceramics, it's such an expensive art between kilns and rental space and clay and glazes and everything else. And it's funny that you say your sister's house is like the timeline, because my friends Matt and Heather that you have heard me talk about forever.
Yeah, I met Matt.
Yeah. They have pretty much that timeline of pottery. And one of his favorite ones is the one that I made at Mudflat that weighs like 10 pounds. It's a mug.
Yes. Yes.
And then he actually opened a coffee shop, and I mean, we're friends anyway, but the nice thing is like now that he has the coffee shop and they're doing so well, he's bought cups from me to sell in the shop. So it's like kind of have like a little wholesale relationship there, even though I don't normally do a lot of wholesale. But yeah, it's really great. And then like, because of that, all the name, like my Mud and Yarn name has spread down in the South Shore area where he's at. So it's kind of interesting.
Cheryl, can you speak to that particular thing? Because I have a whole school of thought on wholesale too, wholesale versus retail. And for those who don't know, maybe just explain what the difference is. And
I mean, I think I know. So I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think wholesale is mostly like shops that want to pay you for your items and then resell them in their shop at full price. So wholesale is usually half retail, is what I think is generally accepted or known. And then there's also shops that do consignment and stuff like that. But the wholesale specifically is supposed to be half retail. So because I got in the whole Instagram game when I didn't have too much issue selling my stuff at retail price. So I didn't do much wholesale stuff. And I feel like, I don't know about this, but like wholesale, I think you have to have like a minimum order of something. And I don't even know what that is, like how much of something it is, but I don't even make large volumes of stuff. Like, I feel like maybe I do, I'm getting better about making bigger amounts of things, but I'm not great at like producing hundreds of mugs a month. So I didn't really do wholesale. And then I've had quite a few people, even just in the past couple of weeks, I think because of Matt's, the zip code cups that I made Matt for his coffee shop, people were like, oh, do you do wholesale? I want to get some custom cups for my shop. And I'm kind of like, actually, I don't. But then my friend Matt and Phil, my husband, were like, why don't you just tell them the price that you want to get paid for them? And then if they want to pay it, they will, and they'll up the price. Even if they make $5, that's still making money for them, and they'll have a custom mug and that's special for them in their shop. And I said, well, okay, if they want to. And so I did. And I have a couple orders that came in that are paying my full price per cup, which still isn't a ton for a cup because there's no handle and I'm just doing a white glaze. Like, it's very simple.
Yeah, that's amazing. I found with wholesale that I could sell it faster retail. I did shows and some online orders and commissions, but yeah, there is a minimum. So in order for it to be worth your while, I used to do a $500 minimum order. And then, but then I would charge them for shipping, which sometimes was hundreds of dollars.
Yeah, because you have to ship it all separately, right? A lot of the time, like you can't.
California, yeah, like 10 pieces goes in like 3 boxes. You know, it's really like big. That was a nightmare for me. I realized I hated shipping. I hated it. And I would rather sell at shows and impressions. I would even like leave stuff on my doorstep. I would rather deliver it to the person than mail it. You know,
I know. I was like, the biggest reason why I didn't do wholesale was I don't want to ship it anywhere. So the only places I am doing stuff like that with large orders is local, where I can drive it down, I can bring it there, and like there's no breakage. I don't have to package it all up. And I do a ton of packing and shipping from, you know, my website, but it's really like the most I've put in one box is like maybe 4 mugs, which fit comfortably in a box the size that I have. Most of the time it's 1 mug in a 1 box, and I have it down to a science. So I'm like, I'm good with that. But like, I don't want to start shipping plates because, oh my God, they're just going to break. And I'm like, so, and I would rather do the in-person shows with stuff like that. But obviously with the pandemic, like we did a sidewalk sale in October and that was awesome. So we'll probably do something more outside again, like once it's warmer, but you know, shipping large orders, no fun. No, thank you.
Yeah. Awesome. Sherelle, do you want to add anything?
I don't think so. I just want to say thanks for having me.
Thank
Kind of
you.
crash your member party. How's it going at the studio? It looks like it's going great.
It is. I love everybody at the studio. It's been awesome. I was just announcing that Kayla has taken over as our studio manager.
Yay.
So So a lot has been going on. I feel like it shifts every day, right? With the COVID, you guys. Every day there's something. We cannot wear one more thing on our faces. We just can't. We just seriously can't. But I think it's going well. And
I'm gonna have to reach out to you when COVID chills out, because we would love to do some workshops at our new studio. It'd be super small. We really only have like 1 table that we can.
Well, we would love to invite you to come and do a workshop with us as well. Yeah, we're still
to come out there for sure.
Yeah, we're still. We just opened up this last month workshops for people who have more experience. Nice. So, and I would love for that to happen too. Yeah. That would be great.
I have you to thank for all of this, Liz, because you were so patient with me in the early days.
No. I think for the most part, I've taught everybody here, almost everybody here.
That's gotta be so crazy. It's awesome.
So, isn't it? I love it. I think we were talking about this in the diversity meeting. I think one of the things that I love doing is watching people develop and grow. And I love doing that. So I'm glad that I'm glad that you got sucked into the crack cocaine that is clay.
It really is. Oh my God. And I've been like slab building and making stuff that way now. And it's just like a whole new addiction. So
yes, I'm with you on that. I love slab building too.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And like follow me and message if anyone has questions.
Yes. Thank you for your time, my friend. It was so great to see you, and everybody. Thank you so much. And DM me, DM Sherelle, if you have any questions on Instagram, or DM me on Slack. And be safe, everyone. Be safe, Sherelle.
I can't wait. You guys too.
All right. You take care, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It was nice to virtually meet all you guys.
Oh, bye, you guys.